Here's your General Hospital recap on what happened in Port Charles today, Wednesday, August 6, 2025. At the Metro Court pool, Chase approached Michael as he was getting out of the pool. He told Michael that the PCPD lost their softball game to Corinthos Coffee before segueing to talk about Willow. Michael tried to stop him immediately, but Chase pushed on. He said Willow understood it was a mistake to be with Drew and was sorry for everything she had done. Chase felt that, given her difficult past, she deserved more understanding, and ultimately, her mistakes shouldn't cost her kids. Michael said the court took the kids away from Willow because she wasn't looking out for their best interests. He felt Willow only cared about Drew, and, if he was happy, she thought all was right in the world. Chase conceded she may have been misguided, but insisted she wasn't trying to hurt the kids. Michael claimed she did hurt them, though, by putting them in an unstable environment and ignoring their emotional needs. Continuing to defend Willow, Chase said a lot of what she did was under Drew's influence, who was no longer a factor, but Michael said she exhibited her own bad behavior. Michael didn't share his suspicions about Willow targeting Daisy, but said Willow had her own issues she needed to take care of and shouldn't be around the kids until she did. Michael reminded Chase that he didn't have all of the facts, which was exactly why he didn't want to have the conversation in the first place. Regardless, Chase continued to push and asked Michael to show Willow a little compassion. Michael said compassion was a luxury he couldn't afford where Willow was concerned. Speaking more accusatively and judgmentally, Chase maintained that Michael wasn't actually putting his kids first and was punishing Willow whether he believed that or not. Sunny helped Ada Turner limp into the hospital. She'd twisted her ankle trying to steal third base in the game, and Sunny tagged her out. When Willow came up to start the intake process for Turner, Sunny respectfully asked if she could assign a different nurse to help them. Willow left to ask Isaiah to assign another nurse. When Isaiah asked if Sunny was rude to her, she remarked that, ironically, Sunny had treated her more decently than anyone else in the family. Sunny gave Turner an overview of Willow and Michael's situation. Eventually, he commented that he was surprised Judge Heron awarded full custody to Michael, which piqued Turner's interest. She asked if Sunny thought the judge made a mistake. Sunny said he thought Michael deserved custody, but figured the judge would have granted Willow visitation right away. Turner was taken aback by Sunny's sensitivity to the complexity of the situation and his empathy for Willow. They had moved back to their semi-flirtatious banter when another nurse came to take her to the exam room. Willow and Isaiah were talking after finishing giving a kid stitches. When mentioning all of the people who warned her about Drew, she accidentally shared that Portia was being blackmailed. Willow asked Isaiah not to say anything. When they continued to talk, it came out that she used to be married to Chase but cheated on him with Michael, but she sang Chase's praises. After Turner was done, Sunny came up with a wheelchair and offered her a ride home. Lucy, Maxie, and Brooklyn were waiting for Tracy in the living room at the Quartermain mansion. They were distressed about going to the police to report Sunny's laundered money investment when Tracy walked in and told them there would be a change in plans. Echoing the advice Sidwell and Marco gave her, she told them that, in order to protect deception, they would have to keep quiet about everything. They were confused by Tracy's change of heart, but she explained the different ways they could inadvertently get the company in trouble by reporting Sunny. She said, "The police know nothing about Sunny's dirty money. Natalia, may she rest, is gone, and Sunny is fully divested from deception. So, it's the right move, and it's what we're going to do." After Lucy clarified what Tracy wanted them to do, both she and Brooklyn agreed. Maxie, however, thought going to the police was smart, strategic, and the right thing to do. Tracy applauded her principles, but asked her if they were worth losing everything and her freedom. Maxie maintained her stance, but she was outvoted 3-1. Lulu met Carly at the Metro Court restaurant. Lulu was frazzled about the softball game because Liesl was in the stands loudly cheering for Rocco. She let Carly know she didn't say anything, but asked for help to drive Liesl back out of town. Carly said she couldn't because not only did Liesl give her bone marrow to save Willow, she was also her grandchildren's great-aunt. But Lulu thought Carly didn't want to get her hands dirty because of Jason. Carly agreed she didn't want to have conflict with Jason, but said she didn't want to have conflict with Lulu either. Lulu was worried about Rocco's emotional well-being, so Carly told her she would help if she could convince her that Liesl was actually a threat to Rocco. Lulu felt Liesl continued to be a threat because of the filtered version of events and of Brit she was giving Rocco. She lamented the precious time she lost with Rocco, not just as an infant, but in the months before he was born, saying, "We didn't get to experience that moment where you find out you're pregnant. We didn't get to plan and dream. Wonder if we were having a boy or a girl. Those moments were robbed from us." Carly felt for Lulu and reaffirmed that what Brit did was horrific and shouldn't be forgotten or spun into something it wasn't. Conversely, she also went on to say Brit did evolve from the person who stole Lulu's embryo, and Jason was a huge part of that. She understood Lulu wasn't around to see Brit change, but asked if she could acknowledge that Brit, like everyone else, had layers that were both good and bad. Lulu felt that the harm was that Rocco was starting to see Brit as his mother too. Brit carried him for 9 months. She gave birth to him, took care of him. For all I know, she nursed him. Brit stole that connection from me. And I am terrified, Carly. I am terrified that she could steal so much more. She felt her Rocco slipping away and didn't want to lose him again. Carly understood her Spencer instinct to fight tooth and nail, but pointed out, in this instance, she would be fighting her son, so she needed to be careful not to push him away for good. Carly warned Lulu to loosen her grip because if she didn't stop going on the attack, she'd make a martyr out of Brit and Liesl. She advised to let the facts speak for themselves, and eventually, Rocco would see she was right about all of it. In the end, Carly offered to help her get rid of Liesl if Lulu thought she was really becoming a problem, but told her she needed to think long and hard before she pulled that trigger because she could make things worse than they are now. Jason, Danny, and Rocco were at the park talking about the softball game they just won. Liesl walked up with a big "We're number one" foam finger. She told Rocco she didn't want to miss the opportunity to see him play and enthusiastically asked if she could take them out to celebrate their victory with ice cream. Jason told them they weren't going anywhere until the equipment was packed up, which gave him a moment alone to speak with Liesl. She figured Jason wanted her to stay away from Rocco, but Jason pointed out how she would be putting stress on Rocco if she kept putting him in a position to choose between seeing her and his parents' wishes. Liesl said she didn't want to put stress on Rocco, but he wanted to know about Brit, and she loved sharing stories about her daughter. Jason was sympathetic to her feelings, but reminded her that Brit and Rocco were never related. Because she stole Dante and Lulu's embryo and passed Rocco off as her own, Dante and Lulu got to feel how they wanted about the situation and Brit. When Liesl said Brit was Ben's mother for almost a year, he said Brit wasn't there now. But Dante and Lulu were, so she needed to respect their decision. She attempted to rationalize more, but he told her, "Please, don't try to come between Rocco and his parents." Liesl claimed she wasn't trying to cause problems, but only providing the answers Rocco sought. Jason asked if she had told him it was her idea to steal the embryo, which she hadn't. He advised that if she wanted a real relationship with Rocco, she needed to tell him the whole truth about her and Brit, even the unflattering parts. When Liesl said she wouldn't badmouth her deceased daughter, Jason reminded her that Brit didn't care what anybody else thought and wouldn't want her whitewashing what she did, especially to Rocco. He felt if she told Rocco the truth, she would earn Rocco's trust. Meanwhile, Danny and Rocco talked about Liesl and Brit as they were gathering the equipment. Danny said Liesl was weird, but not as scary as he thought she'd be. Rocco acknowledged Liesl had done some sus things, but now it seemed like all she wanted to do was get to know him. He didn't want to upset his parents and wondered if he should just drop the whole thing. Rocco said he got Brit wasn't his mom, but he still wanted to know stuff about her, and the only people willing to talk about her were Jason and Dr. Obrecht. Danny said he had the right to want to know more because it was his life. When Danny and Rocco returned to Jason and Liesl, she said she forgot her lactose pills, so they would have to wait until another time. After she left, Rocco said he wished there was a way he could have known Brit. Dante went to see Laura at her mayoral office. She wanted to know if Sonny kidnapped Marco Rios. Dante said, despite how convoluted Marco's story sounded, it was the statement he gave and did not accuse anyone, so it was an open and shut case. She didn't want to appear as if she was looking the other way or complicit with Sunny's actions, and asked Dante if he thought it was worthwhile to pursue a case against his father. Dante reiterated that there was no evidence, and a victim who didn't want to admit he was abducted. Laura admitted to being relieved and was worried about the effect it would have on Rocco if he saw Sunny get arrested. They moved on to talking about Britt and Liesel. Laura understood the way Dante and Lulu felt, but gave him the same advice she did to her daughter. She encouraged him to let Rocco explore his new situation and said she thought it comforted Rocco to hear that Britt wasn't all bad. Dante didn't love it, but because he thought Britt was no longer alive, he said he'd be okay with it. Laura reassured him they would find a solution to everything. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Here is your General Hospital spoilers sneak peek video for Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Drew Kane still thinks he can get away with anything, despite losing Willow for being a liar and manipulator who emotionally abused her child. He certainly thinks he can push around Sidwell, but he may be in for a rude awakening. Like his Aunt Tracy, Drew is not happy when Sidwell announces he no longer plans to run Sunny out of town and lets Sidwell know it. Sidwell does not take too kindly to Drew's attitude and warns Drew not to threaten him. Sidwell's conversation with Tracy certainly paid off because she no longer plans to turn Sunny in, claiming she is protecting deception. Brooklyn has the pleasure of letting Uncle Sunny know that he is off the hook. Jordan is also still concerned with Sidwell and offers Laura an update on the charming criminal. Laura is not sure she wants Jordan to put herself at risk anymore. Now that Jocelyn is no longer working for Professor Dalton, Emma knows she is next in line for the job, but also remembers what Joss told her about Dalton. Emma wants to get into Dalton's lab, but she doesn't like the idea of Dalton coming onto her. Emma discusses her worries with Trina, who advises her not to take the job. Meanwhile, Anna tells Felicia that she fears what Emma will do. She is getting herself mixed up in something she can't possibly understand. Will Felicia help Anna stop Emma from getting in over her head? When Alexis and Christina meet for a meal at the Metro Court, Alexis asks her daughter if she regrets coming between Molly and Cody. Alexis now knows that hiring Cody wasn't necessary because Ava is jealous of Elizabeth and has no interest in Cody. Will Christina try to backtrack and end her deal with Cody for Molly's sake? Or will she march forward and make another massive mistake that could ruin her relationship with her sister? Welcome to the General Hospital Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. It's been clear for a while that General Hospital has been chem-testing Sunny with Assistant District Attorney Justine Turner, but they have failed the test for quite a few reasons. First, we have been down this road multiple times before. Sunny falls for a petite brunette who looks just like Brenda Barrett, the character some would argue is his only true love. However, none of them ever live up to Brenda, and eventually it ends. Even Jason looked at Sunny and Turner, ready to roll his eyes because he's seen this over and over again. Often, the woman is a lawyer who then compromises herself for the sake of the cuddly mobster with the heart of gold. One reason we want Sunny to stop doing this is that he is way too old. Now, there is nothing wrong with mature men sporting salt and pepper hair, but GH doesn't seem to want that for Sunny. Instead, the show is trying to pair a grandfather with another woman half his age, and it just doesn't work anymore. In fact, it seems forced. As Turner questioned Sunny about Michael and Willow's dramatic love life, the sparks did not fly. In fact, the conversation was terribly awkward, and more proof that this pairing just won't work. But hey, Nina is still single, and Sona may have some unfinished business they need to take care of. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full GH recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, August 7th reveal that Drew Kane's threat will provoke Jen Sidwell, while Emma Scorpio Drake's plan ends up at risk. Sonny Corinthos will also get some good news, so viewers will see some exciting story developments. For starters, Anna Devane will warn Felicia Scorpio that Emma is going to make a move against Professor Henry Hank Dalton tonight. It looks like Anna may seek Felicia's help to stop Emma, but she may not count on Giovanni Gio Palmieri taking the lead on the lab break-in plot. Anna may put some other connections to good use in Thursday's GH episode as well. We'll see if that's about sabotaging Emma's plan, or if Anna might use those connections to monitor the situation in Dalmatia. Over with Trina Robinson. She'll urge Emma to think twice about taking that research assistant job. Since Jocelyn Jacks claimed Dalton was a sleaze and pushed Emma to stay away from him, Trina will think Emma should listen. Talk will eventually turn to Gio, so Emma will confide in Trina about her feelings for him. The fact that Gio's being so loyal about this lab break-in scheme will make Emma even more drawn to him. As for Jordan Ashford, she'll have a meeting with Laura Collins and pass along some Sidwell updates. Laura won't feel comfortable asking Jordan to take a risk, presumably one related to Sidwell's takedown or feud with Sonny. But Jordan may insist on doing it anyway. Next, Alexis Davis will ask if Christina Corinthos Davis regrets coming between Molly Lansing Davis and Cody Bell. Christina may try to convince herself it's for the best, but she'll still feel a little guilty about ruining Molly's new chance at romance. Across town, Brooklyn Quartermain will have some positive info for Sonny, so she may reveal that they've decided to let all the money laundering investment drama stay buried at deception. Over with Drew, he'll push Sidwell's buttons. Drew may make some demands and hint that he might turn against him if their alliance is no longer mutually beneficial. "You wouldn't be threatening me now, would you?" Sidwell asks Drew in Thursday's GH preview video. Finally, Ava Jerome will test Rick Lansing's loyalty, but he could fail if he makes Elizabeth Baldwin the center of his world. Rick may prove to Ava that she did the right thing by going to Alexis and shoving him out of the blackmail arrangement. General Hospital spoilers say Rick and Ava have more conflict ahead, so stay tuned. General Hospital recap for Wednesday, August 6th reveals that Willow Tate's secret spill stunned Isaiah Gannon, while Jason Morgan ruined Liesl Obrecht's attempt to have another outing with Rocco Falconeri. At the Metro Court pool, Harrison Chase tried to push Michael Corinthos to have compassion for Willow and stop punishing her along with the kids. However, Michael hinted about Willow having her own behavior issues aside from Drew Kane and stood his ground. Since ADA Justine Turner hurt her ankle playing softball, Sonny Corinthos took her to GH to get it examined. Willow popped up with paperwork and faced Sonny's polite request for another nurse. After Willow gave Isaiah updates on the situation, she acknowledged that Sonny had been decent to her compared to the rest of Michael's family. Willow also sang Chase's praises and admitted to Isaiah that they used to be married before she cheated on him with Michael. Later, Willow let something slip about Drew blackmailing Portia Robinson before realizing that wasn't her secret to spill. When Willow asked if they could keep that between them, Isaiah offered reassurance. Back with Sonny, he talked to Ada Turner about his surprise over the judge granting full custody to Michael, though he agreed with the decision. Ada Turner wound up bonding with Sonny a bit, so he insisted on taking her home after her ankle was bandaged up. At the Quartermain mansion, Tracy Quartermain told Maxie Jones, als Lucy Coe and Brooklyn Quartermain, that there'd been a change of plans. Tracy insisted deception wouldn't be handing over the evidence against Sonny, so that led to some bickering. Once they put it to a vote, Tracy, Brooklyn, and Lucy outnumbered Maxie, which meant the dirty investment situation would stay buried. However, Tracy privately voiced some concerns to Brooklyn about whether Maxie would truly keep quiet. Next, Lulu Spencer sought Carly Spencer's help driving Liesl out of town. Carly wanted Lulu to prove Obrecht was a threat to Rocco first. Lulu eventually teared up over Rocco, thinking of Britt Westbourne as another mother. Since Lulu didn't want to lose any more time with Rocco, Carly didn't think she should stop Rocco from seeking Britt and Liesl answers. After winning their latest softball game, Rocco and Danny Morgan discussed the victory with Jason. Liesl came along with the foam finger she'd been waving since she was there to witness the win, too. Once Obrecht offered to treat everyone to ice cream, Jason sent Danny and Rocco to pack up the equipment. That gave Jason a chance to warn Liesl not to come between Rocco and his parents. Back with Rocco, he talked to Danny about Lulu and Dante Falconeri wanting him to steer clear of Liesl. However, Danny pointed out this was Rocco's life, so he should learn more about Obrecht and Britt if that was his choice. After Danny and Rocco returned, Liesl made an excuse about forgetting her lactose pills and suggested they could do ice cream another time. Once Obrecht took off, Rocco asked Jason about Britt again and wished he could have known her, so Jason said he wished that too. In Laura Collins's office, she quizzed Dante off the record about Marco Rios's kidnapping, though she didn't want Sonny to go down for it since Rocco was dealing with enough lately. Dante acknowledged that things would be different if Britt were around, but he wasn't as against Rocco looking into her as Lulu was. This whole thing was a mess with no simple fix, but Laura gave Dante a pep talk. General Hospital spoilers say Rocco will continue to latch onto Liesl ahead of some shocking Britt survival news, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers hint that a horrific death could be ahead on the ABC soap. Is one character about to be killed off as part of a major storyline? Jack Brennan just sent Jocelyn, Jax, and Vaughn to Dalmatia on a simple recon mission. At least he assumes it'll be simple. Brennan tried to quiet Anna Devane's concerns about Jocelyn and the possibility that this mission will end in disaster. That's always an option when it comes to WSB assignments, but Brennan seemed confident Vaughn and Jocelyn would come back unharmed. GH spoilers suggest Brennan may be proven wrong about that. In fact, we have to wonder if Vaughn will come back from Dalmatia at all. Vaughn is an expendable character who could become a surprise casualty of all the drama that's about to erupt at the Five Poppies Resort. We could certainly imagine Vaughn sacrificing his own life to save Jocelyn if it comes down to it. Jocelyn has already had to cope with the loss of Oscar Nero Quartermain and Dex Heller. Although Jocelyn isn't as close to Vaughn yet, she's formed a connection with him that could grow stronger as they pose as newlyweds. If Vaughn doesn't survive this mission, it could help Jocelyn get the full picture about the danger she's signing up for with the WSB. It could also leave Jocelyn feeling a little cursed in the romance department, considering what happened to Dex and Oscar. Vaughn may be yet another lost love interest for Jocelyn if the soap Grim Reaper's coming for him. Even if Vaughn manages to pull through this assignment, he could still lose his life during another phase of all this WSB chaos. Vaughn was brought on for this specific storyline, so it makes sense that he might get a dramatic exit once his purpose has been served. We'd argue that if the show wants a new match for Jocelyn, they can do better than Vaughn. Jocelyn needs someone she has more chemistry with, preferably someone who's a bit more age-appropriate. Whatever the case, Vaughn may not be long for this world, depending on how things play out in Dalmatia. This storyline with Britt Westbourne and Jason Morgan will definitely result in some dangerous circumstances, so stick with us for updates on any alarming news to come. The world of General Hospital is currently entangled in a web of complex mysteries, stretching from the sunny shores of Croatia to the familiar streets of Port Charles. At the center of a major international plot is Dr. Britt Westbourne, whose activities at the luxurious Five Poppies Resort are far from a simple vacation. She is embroiled in a covert operation, reporting to a mysterious male superior while secretly administering an experimental serum to herself, likely to combat her Huntington's disease. This clandestine arrangement has sparked intense fan speculation about the identity of her boss. Theories point to three notorious figures from the show's past. The first is Peter August, who could have faked his death, and, now suffering from the same genetic disease, is coercing his half-sister Britt into developing a cure. Another possibility is the sinister Jerry Jax, a master manipulator with a history of forcing brilliant minds into unethical experiments. Finally, the megalomaniacal Victor Cassadine could be the mastermind. Presumed dead, his resurrection would be in line with his family's tradition of cheating death, likely forcing Britt to develop a bioagent tied to his world domination schemes. In each scenario, Brit's familiarity with her boss suggests a complex relationship built on more than just coercion. Back in Port Charles, a new generation is showing signs of inheriting a familiar legacy. Danny Morgan, son of the late PI Sam McCall, and Jason Morgan, has become captivated by Dante Falconeri's investigation into the enigmatic Professor Dalton. Danny is displaying a natural investigative flair that echoes his mother's sharp instincts, raising questions about his future. As Jason navigates raising his son alone after Sam's tragic death, he faces a difficult dilemma. He sees glimmers of Sam and Danny's curiosity, but is apprehensive about his son being drawn into the dangers that defined their lives. Fans are watching closely to see if Danny will follow a path into law enforcement, inspired by Dante, or be pulled into the perilous vigilante world his father inhabits. This storyline thoughtfully explores themes of legacy, protection, and whether a child can honor a parent's memory without repeating their mistakes. Meanwhile, the World Security Bureau is in desperate need of a tech genius. After Agent Jack Brennan failed to recruit Jason Morgan, whose skills are primarily physical, all signs point to Damian Spinelli as the ideal candidate. His unparalleled hacking abilities are perfectly suited for the WSB's increasingly digital challenges. This potential on-screen partnership is being fueled by a delightful off-screen connection. The actors, Bradford Anderson and Chris McKenna, recently charmed fans at a General Hospital fan event. Their camaraderie was on full display as they performed a hilarious duet of "You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'," which McKenna later shared on social media. In Port Charles, loyalty can be both a lifeline and a weapon, and for Kai Taylor, his unwavering allegiance to Drew Kane has long raised eyebrows. To many, it looked like simple gratitude. Drew had stepped in when Kai's football career was cut short by a devastating injury. He offered emotional support and even paid for an experimental surgery that gave Kai the ability to walk again. Football was out of the picture, but to Kai, Drew had given him something far greater, a second chance at life. But for Trina Robinson, who was by Kai's side through it all, something never sat right. At first, she tried to understand. She knew Drew had helped Kai when no one else did. But as time passed, Trina began to see cracks in the foundation of that loyalty. The surgery, while partially successful, came with false hope and broken promises. And Kai's blind faith in Drew? It began to feel less like gratitude and more like submission. That's when everything started to unravel. Trina's concerns became heartbreak when she discovered that Kai had betrayed her family, Curtis and Portia, by helping Drew in a scheme that crossed every moral line. Kai, the man she loved, had chosen to protect Drew during a blackmail plot that directly targeted her parents. The betrayal cut deep. This wasn't just a misstep. This was a calculated choice, a violation of trust, and no amount of past loyalty could justify it. Trina confronted Kai, desperate to understand why he'd turn his back on everything they'd built. The answer? More devastating than she ever expected. Drew's influence over Kai wasn't just about debt or gratitude. There was something darker at play, a manipulation so deep it bordered on control. Trina uncovered that Drew had used Kai's vulnerability to entrap him, emotionally, psychologically, and perhaps even legally. Kai had kept more than secrets. He had buried the truth. His connection to Drew was never just mentorship. Drew had become a lifeline, one that Kai felt he couldn't afford to let go of. Over time, that bond turned toxic. Drew had exploited Kai's pain, his hopes, and his desperation, weaving him into a web of loyalty that felt impossible to escape. Trina's determination to get to the truth led her straight into the heart of Drew's shadowy dealings. What she uncovered shook her to her core. Drew was involved in far more than anyone suspected, and Kai had known all along. Now, Trina stands at a crossroads. Her love for Kai hasn't vanished, but the man she thought she knew is no longer the man standing before her. Caught between heartbreak and fury, she's left to ask the one question no one wants to face in Port Charles. Shifting loyalties and relationships are the highlights of General Hospital's current storyline. With Willow aiming to improve her image in town, and Sidwell buying time to target his enemy, new alliances and rivalries are on the way. Meanwhile, Dalton's situation may see a new turn of events in the upcoming weeks. The YouTube channel, General Hospital Preview, presents a teaser video for the episode of August 7th, 2025. The video finds Alexis asking Christina. This is after Christina badmouthed Cody before Molly to keep up her plan of using him in her revenge plan. Meanwhile, Brooklyn meets Sunny to share information. She exclaims, "Elsewhere, Sidwell faces Drew as they both discuss their future moves against their common enemy. Sidwell is seen questioning. They seem to have come to a friction where Drew challenges the businessman mobster. The latter, in turn, may express cold fury. The other story arcs coming up on the long-running ABC daily soap on August 7th, 2025, include Anna and Felicia's discussion, Trina's advice for Emma, and Laura's confession to Jordan. As the above-mentioned General Hospital teaser video presents, Commissioner Anna is seen in an honest discussion with Felicia Jones Scorpio. Anna Devane informs her friend about her granddaughter's plan. Since Emma plans to uncover Dalton's animal testing, Anna may share the danger awaiting the college girl. While Anna may seek help to stop Emma's action on Dalton's project, she is not aware of the agreement between Emma and Giovanni. As the latter is planning to raid the lab, Anna and her team may find themselves catching Gio in action. The next scene on the General Hospital teaser shows Emma and Trina having a heart-to-heart chat. The latter will likely advise Dalton's student to stay away from the shady professor's apprenticeship. Trina may remind her about Jocelyn's warnings before leaving town, about the professor being sleazy. At the same time, Emma may share her feelings towards Giovanni with Trina. Elsewhere, Mayor Laura is seen in a serious conversation with Jordan. She expresses her discomfort about Jordan taking a risk. Since they are discussing the impending Sunny-Sidwell mob clash, Laura may fear for her aide's safety. The following frame of the GH promo video shows Christina sharing latest intel with her mother about Cody's task. She may inform needing to pay extra amount to keep him in the revenge track. However, she looks doubtful when Alexis asks whether she feels bad about upending Molly's romantic life. The next frame finds Brooklyn informing a smiling Sunny that she brings good news. BLQ will possibly share the latest decision by Tracy and the Deception Ladies to drop the idea of bringing Sunny to the police. She may further share her personal issues regarding Gio with the mob boss. The closing frame of the General Hospital teaser finds Sidwell and Drew facing each other. The congressman may try to intimidate Sidwell about following up with his plan, or else he will draw out of their collaboration. This will likely infuriate Sidwell, who may send out a veiled threat on his part. The episode will also see Ava planning to test Rick's loyalty one last time before dropping him from her extortion plan. Tune in to General Hospital to watch Drew and Sidwell threaten each other as Anna plans to derail her granddaughter's mission. No one ever stays dead on General Hospital. Sure, we've seen plenty of characters die on screen and remain dead, but over the past 62 years that the show has been in existence, we've seen enough character resurrections to make our heads spin. Now that Britt has returned after supposedly dying in her mother, Liesel's, arms, it's got some of us wondering just who else the writers could bring back in the future. Here are 4 possibilities. Mobster Julian Jerome was killed in a dramatic face-off with Sonny Corinthos on a footbridge in New Jersey. Sonny shot him, the bridge collapsed, and Julian died. Sonny has enough on his plate right now in his heated battle with Sidwell. He can't handle another rival. Or can he? If the writers find a way to bring Julian back, maybe he could team up with Sidwell to defeat Sonny. Then perhaps Sonny could join forces with mobster Selena Wu to retaliate. It would be like a tag team wrestling match between 2 pairs of mobsters. Imagine Ava Jerome's shock at seeing her brother Julian alive. Their scenes together would create some great drama. West would knock them out of the park, and she would have some amazing reels to submit for the Daytime Emmy Awards the following year. General Hospital fans have long been divided over whether or not Morgan should return from the dead. He died in 2016 from a car bomb that was intended for Julian, but his body was never found. If they brought him back, either in the form of Craig or a recast, his mother Carly would be overjoyed to see her son alive. Wright would play those scenes to perfection. She would bring us all to tears. Morgan and Sonny didn't always see eye to eye. His return would give Maurice Bernard some highly emotional scenes to play as well, as Sonny might reflect on his past mistakes and would want to mend fences with Morgan. Maybe he would think back on his relationship with his own father, Mike, and how he made amends with Mike and grew closer to him in the final months before Alzheimer's disease took Mike's life. Also, could Morgan be the person to take over Sonny's business? So many fans believe that the iconic character of Luke Spencer is General Hospital. Luke supposedly died in a cable car accident in Austria in 22, but his body was also never found. Geary retired from the show, but what if he agreed to return for a brief stint, just long enough to help his friend Sonny take down Sidwell? He would be doing it also out of love for his son, Lucky, as revenge for the hell Sidwell put him through in Africa. Tracy would be speechless to see her husband, Luke, alive, and he would love to see his spanky buns. Jane Elliott's scenes with Anthony Geary were always entertaining, and the two actors had wonderful on-screen chemistry. So many fans were heartbroken when Sam was killed by Cyrus Renault in 24. But even though we saw her die on the hospital bed, soap writers find all sorts of ways to resurrect the dead. Maybe she was whisked away by a relative on the Cassadine side of her family. Even if we can't get Kelly Monaco back, maybe a recast could be brought on the canvas. So many of Sam's loved ones need her right now. Maybe she could be a source of guidance for her little sister, Christina, and talk her out of doing the crazy things she's been doing lately. Maybe she could somehow get Christina to accept responsibility for her wrongdoings. Perhaps Alexis could confide in Sam about how Rick and Ava have been blackmailing her. She could definitely use some emotional support and maybe some advice from her oldest daughter on how to tackle that problem. Molly would love to have her oldest sister back after all the heartbreak she suffered last year regarding the surrogate storyline and her breakup with TJ. Sam's children Danny and Scout would cry tears of joy to have their mother back, and Dante would be ecstatic to have his fiancée back. Caitlin McMullen revealed the origin of Willow's chopped hair and the benefits of the new do. Willow can't seem to understand why Michael won't let her see her kids on General Hospital. She doesn't yet know that he suspects she was the one who was messing with baby Daisy, forcing Sasha to take her child and flee Port Charles. Willow puts up a good face, but there's a touch of mania in her eyes, and Michael feels she could melt down at any minute, endangering their children. As part of her spiral to the dark side, Willow chopped her hair off, and Caitlin McMullen explained the changes her character is going through. McMullen spoke with Soap Opera Digest and said that the decision to have Willow cut her hair came from executive producer Frank Valentini, who told her, "It would be great for Willow to have a new look as she comes into the nurses' ball feeling so confident." He was instrumental in choosing the style that Willow would end up with. She stated that the ball was the perfect time for her to have this change, remarking that, "It would be great for Willow to have a bolder look, something different than what we've seen in the past with her." That certainly made sense, especially considering that when we first saw her new do, it looked as if she frantically chopped it off, rather than having gone to a stylist. Things fell apart for Willow when Michael showed up at the ball, scooped up Wiley, and exited. He had been recovering at a burn clinic in Germany, so everyone was shocked to see him. Willow would soon have a few mental breakdowns in public, causing her to ultimately lose custody, and she later left Drew at the altar when he admitted to sleeping with Nina. All of that is enough to cause anyone to lose their mind. The change in Willow's hairstyle wasn't just a visible representation of her character's transformation. McMullen explained that the haircut made her feel more like herself, a feeling she described as weird. She revealed a major benefit of the cut, stating, "When my hair was longer, I kind of felt like I could hide behind the hair a little bit. But this is like, no, you have to really show yourself." Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!